October a year ago, I talked to the builders with two guys and a woman. They did every bit of this on site. All of the woods came from West Virginia. We would call around and ask local saw people, do you have a tree? And we looked for all different kinds of wood. The rafters are cypress. The ceiling is knotty pine. The living room is curly maple. And I would tell them, pick out pieces like this one that are flawed because I want it to look rustic. So that's what we did. And we kept calling around all year, and on one of the calls, a guy said, I have a black walnut tree. I said, fine, I want the tree. They rough sawed it, brought the wood here. It was planed on the deck, sanded on the deck, and so forth. So I ended up with cypress on the beams, knotty pine, and that came from Princeton. The black maple came from Braxton County. You'll find one of the bedrooms is hemlock, it's the gray one. The other bedroom is knotty pine. All of the cabinet work was done on site by hand. The bathroom vanities on site by hand. All the interior doors on site by hand. When it came time to do the staining, the lady that is the wife of the husband said, come over here and pick a stain. Well, I said, lay out all the different kinds of wood and I'll look at it on the wood. I picked out exactly the same stain for every wood, which came out a different color by the wood. She said, you're not going to believe this, but you picked out all the same stain. So everything is handcrafted, hand done, all with West Virginia wood.
Mary Jo Brown had been asked to speak with you guys. She grew up here in the house. It was her grandfather that built it, and his family moved in the house in 1923. And Mary Jo's father was one of the young ones in that in that family. Old Dr. Brown had 9 children, 7 sons and 2 daughters. And Flavius Brown II, Mary Jo's father, he bought the house from his mother somewhere in the late 40s, early 50s, and they moved in and lived here. In that second family, there were just 3 children. Mary Jo, her sister Betty, and their much younger brother Hugh. This is what Mary Jo sent us. My grandparents and my parents cut Christmas trees from out back. Some pretty good, others not. One Christmas, when Betty and I got home from school on December 22nd, we found a terrible tree in the living room, waiting for us to decorate it. It made Charlie Brown's tree look great. A riot broke out over this tree, and that was the year we began relying on Mr. Ralph Murphy, Ann Campbell's father, for our Christmas trees. One of Daddy's projects was to keep my brother Hugh out of trouble. And it was one of Daddy's projects to keep brother Hugh out of trouble was growing trees for him to sell. They planted about 1 million white pine trees, and we all know that you can't hang ornaments off those long needle pines. We had a great crop of ground pine down behind the beehives that made beautiful swags for the stair railing, mixed with hemlock and holly. One of my favorite Christmas traditions was cutting greenery to ship to our California cousins. This house was always a hubbub of laughter, loud voices, music, and fun. People in and out, often. It warms my heart that all of you support the efforts at Brown Oaks with the spectacular decorations that draw hundreds each year. My brother and I often remark that we are so blessed to be able to return here and relive those good times. Merry Christmas and God bless you all. Mary Jo Brown Thompson.
Joseph Alderson came up from a more southern point of then Virginia. His grandfather, was John Alderson, that the town of Alderson is named for, and so forth. He moved up to Nicholas County, and it became our representative for Nicholas County to the Virginia legislature. In 1860, he voted against secession. That's a very key point. Remember that one. You all know many skirmishes in this area. The Confederates were camped right over the ridge there. We've actually gone out there and found bullet molds back there behind another cousin's house. Behind this ridge was the Union Army. If you will look when you go upstairs, there's a saber on the wall that is from 1865, and it is a Union saber. In 1865, the Union won Summersville. They burned every building in the town. The last one to burn was the Episcopal Church, the wooden church, down Water Street and Broad, down in there. After the war, when the North won, they passed a federal law that if you were a Confederate sympathizer or served in the Confederate Army, you could not own property. However, Joseph Alderson came back to Summersville. He was allowed to buy property because he voted against secession. He built this house at that time. Actually, it was 1870. If you know where Lawrence Tolley lives and Ann Campbell, that pond in between their houses, that's where the clay from this house came. All the bricks are solid, and the house is laid with 6 bricks this way, then 6 bricks this way, and 6 bricks this way. If you'll look at that doorway, every wall in the house, exterior and interior, is that thick of solid brick. That's why this house has been here all these years.
But on the 13th day of March in 1861, the elders met at the Methodist Episcopal Church South and organized Summersville Baptist Church with 12 charter members, and they were to meet once a month. The church felt that the community needed a full-time pastor and petitioned the executive board of the General Association of Virginia to help with the $100 a year salary. The Civil War disrupted the services, and the next meeting was held August 12th, 1865 at Enon, and Reverend Rippeteau was secured as pastor. And on September 8th of 1865, Summersville Baptist Church was received into the Greenbrier Association at Springfield in Monroe County. From the minutes of that meeting, John W. Young was present as a delegate, and he reported on behalf of the church that Summersville is a feeble body but hopes for better days. So I'm not quite sure what was expected of church members back then, but we must have been questionable whether or not we would even exist today. But anyway, in the next session of the Greenbrier Association, they met at Mount Pleasant in Nicholas County, and at the regular meeting in October of 1866, the name was changed to Enon, and so ends the history of the first organization of the church. At a meeting on the 7th day of May of 1882 at the residence of Logan Weinbrenner, there were many people probably 20 people present at that meeting, including Reverend Ripito and Mr. Peck, who was the secretary. And at this meeting, they had several resolutions that were adopted. And one was that the church would meet on the Tuesday after the fourth Sunday in June of 1882, and that they would appoint a board of trustees. And the meeting adjourned to meet again on the 17th day of June. On the 27th day of June in 1882, the members of the Summersville Baptist Church in the community met at the Methodist Church at 11 o'clock, and after a sermon by Reverend Huffman, took a recess until 2 o'clock, at which time they appointed a presbytery. And the name then was to be the Summersville Baptist Church, and Reverend Ripito was called as pastor with a salary of only $75 per year.
Most people in here have probably heard a lot of the history, so I'm going to hit some major points and then we'll get on with the rest of the festivities today. The Nicholas County High School was an idea that came from the legislature and the Board of Education in 1911. There was much opposition, a lot of red tape to cut through. The cornerstone was finally laid in 1913. The first class started in 1914. The auditorium was added onto the building in 1924. The last graduating class was 1978. And after several years of deterioration to the building, a group of alumni, along with the Board of Education, did fundraisers, got grants, donations from all of Nicholas County, and formed the Nicholas Old Main Art and Heritage Foundation. Many hours, many people, many dollars have been spent to get it to where it looks like today. It is on the National Registry of Historic Places. We can't do anything to alter the outside. We can do improvements on the inside, which we have done. Two of the latest things that we have done is the floor out here on the basement. If you noticed, it's a beautiful non-slip floor. And a year or so before that, we did an HVAC system for the basement and the auditorium. In the future, we may do the rest of the rooms, but for now, the heat rises and we have had no problem. We still have the museum rooms open. Anybody that wants to take a tour, give somebody a call that's on the board of directors and we will arrange it. If you'd like to become a friend of the Old Main, I have brochures and pamphlets over here to hand out. I'd be glad to give everybody one. If you'd like to be on the board, we meet on the third Tuesday of every month at 4 o'clock in the conference room over here. So thanks everybody for coming out today, for supporting the Old Main, and I hope you'll continue to do so. And I'd love to see some of you join the board and be more active in what we do to maintain the Old Main and keep it going. Thank you all.
Well, as you heard, the mayor could not be here today due to a family commitment, a very big family commitment. But he does send his highest regards to Rhonda and to Dreama and to the entire board of the Old Main Foundation for all of your efforts to make Come Home to Old Main for Christmas such an amazing success. Beginning with the parade, to the concert with Rudy Elvis, to Sunday with Santa, to the culmination today of the Unique and Historic Tour and this reception today. On behalf of the mayor and the city, I had the very special pleasure to work in a very small way with Rhonda and Dreama, and I can tell you that these ladies are remarkable. They are absolutely remarkable. And their commitment, their heartfelt dedication, and the same for the entire Old Main Foundation is to be commended. So big round of applause for the Old Main Foundation. So congratulations on a successful festival, and enjoy this reception this afternoon. The mayor and I are really looking forward to see what comes next, because we really only see positive energy, and we know that good things are coming to Old Main. So congratulations, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year.
Thank you.